Triumph holds diverse meanings for individuals as it is subjective and personal. While some associate triumph with academic or professional achievements, others view it as conquering the seemingly insurmountable challenges that life presents. For Sarah Anderu, triumph looks at the form of breaking free from an abusive marriage, signifying her resilience, strength, and reclaiming her life. Welcome to Triumph Women Beating the Odds. My name is Okelo Shared Nagenjwa.
Brought to you by Stanbic Bank Uganda.
Sarah's life took a tumultuous turn after her first marriage ended in abuse. However, with enormous courage, she picked up the pieces and forged ahead. Sadly, history repeated itself as her second marriage turned out to be even more distressing. Sarah suffered both mentally and physically, an experience that tested her beyond measures. This is her story. Oh, hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sharon.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for coming.
Well, just introduce yourself briefly.
Oh, thank you. My name is Sarah Anderu. I am 34 years old, a mother of 4, and a single mother. I'm a very, very hardworking woman. Yeah, that's the best of me.
That's a perfect introduction, yeah? I love it. So allow me to start from the end. Are you married? Are you seeing someone?
No. Unfortunately, I've developed hatred for men. That's what I can say, the relationship I'm in, because of what I've gone through.
So you're not in any relationship?
No, I am not. And I'm not going to be.
What happened, Sarah?
I had a depressing relationship, physical, emotionally. I was hurt. I had the first relationship, and the second one was the worst. So it was like jumping from the frying pan to fire. I was physically abused, I was emotionally abused, and so all that led to a depression.
Elaborate that emotional abuse and physical abuse.
So emotional abuse was in a way that he always called me, you're not a marriage material, and like you're not meant to be, like even chicken is more bright than you, like degrading to that level. And then you reach a point and like when something happens, you believe, yes, I think it's true. Yeah, like to say, you know, God just created you, but he never gave you sense and so on, like the society doesn't need you. And when you're physically abused, even if you try to cry, someone says, however much you cry, no one is going to come to help you. And indeed it was true because my family also abandoned me. And so everyone abandoned me. So I was just alone. I looked at this man as my small God. I was like, okay, I'm in this relationship just because the society knew since the first marriage ended.
Yes.
So you're a bad person. So that is how our tradition looks at it. Once a woman leaves her marriage and comes back home, even your own parents get to be ashamed of you. So I had to give it a chance. I was like, okay, let me give this marriage another chance.
So what happened in the second marriage that is even even more painful than the abuse in the first marriage?
The man was very violent in everything that he does. So he wasn't working, I was the one working. So I was like, probably he will change. You know, love can change. And then I sent him to school, I educated him. I was like, probably he's illiterate and he will change. I kept trying to see a change in him, but nothing worked. The more I tried, the more abusive he came, emotionally, physically. And so the last one was when first of all, he stopped me from social life. He was abusing everyone at home, including the children. Yeah, so the maids would come and leave. My family was not allowed to visit me. My friends would not visit me. I would not leave home. So he had to time me. You go to work, by 5 you must be home. Any minute after 5, you're beaten according to those minutes that you have passed. So the last one, I was 2 months pregnant, and I had a baby of 1 year. So he beat us up. He said I should abort the baby, or I choose between marriage and the baby. So I chose the baby. So that fateful night, he beat me up. So his aim was to hit my stomach. So I was carrying the other baby of 1 year. So what I did was to shield that baby and my stomach. So he beat my back until I bled. So when he saw me bleeding too much with his belt, and then he locked us in the room for 3 days. I was giving the baby water from the toilet.
What?
Yes, because he locked the rooms, he locked the windows, and no one could access us. He picked away my phone, and so I couldn't access anything. So the baby was getting hungry. So this 1 year old, I would feed him with water from the toilet.
Water from the toilet?
Yes.
Did you have breast milk?
I had breast milk, but I'd already stopped him from breastfeeding, so it wasn't coming.
Oh my dear.
So on the 4th day, he opened the door. It was during COVID time. So that was 2 a.m. in the night. So I picked my baby because he came drunk and he just fell on the bed. I picked my baby. It was raining. I walked out in the rain, and that's how I gained my freedom from that marriage.
That
I've
was your
never
turning
gone
point.
back. Yes.
So question. You know, it begs the question. When you were getting involved with this man, was he working? Did he look like a serious man, or it was you just fell in love? And
It's not falling in love. I didn't know him, first of all, but he told me he was a presidential driver. Yes, and he's like,
I'm sorry. Okay.
I've come for leave for 2 months, so I need a wife. Like, so I was like, okay, I've got a better man than the first one that I had.
Advisor,
So let me show society that I can move on after breaking the first one. I've gotten someone better, presidential advisor. Who wouldn't want a presidential advisor anyway?
So was it true?
It wasn't. He was not even any close to any political person. But and I realized the reason why he kept me off society, so that I don't find the truth about him.
Sarah, yours is a bit too much for me.
Yes. And so when I would go to work, unfortunately, he was using a watchman to spy on me. So what is she doing? With whom is she talking? Then you would come home. Why did you talk to so-and-so? Then you ask yourself, how come?
So Sarah, you were paying school fees for this presidential advisor. You were feeding this president, providing for this presidential advisor.
I gave him my ATM card and the PIN. I was like, okay, whenever we need something, always make sure I give him the budget, just for him to have respect among his friends.
Sarah, I don't know, do I have any single brothers? Because
so that's how far I went for love.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah.
And don't beat yourself up for it. We all do crazy things for love. Now, you move on. Now, how do you start to rebuild your life again?
So the day I started, I was crying. And so this my 1 year son comes to wipe my tears. Then I was like, the moment he wiped my tears, I felt some burden lifted.
Okay.
So I was like, so I have someone who can stand in for me. And so that action alone made me to get courage, to get strength, to build resilience and say, I must fight for him too. If he can wipe my tears, then let me do this for him. I was like, I'm going to be strong for him and for this unborn child. And that's how I stepped up. I was like, to hell with society, to hell with what people think.
Yes.
I'm going to use this challenge as a stepping stone. And that's what I did.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you stay in, where were you staying at that time?
I went to a friend. That night I went to a friend. And unfortunately, this friend was a doctor because he used to help me.
Okay.
So the moment I went to him, the first night we were okay. The second night, guy wants sex with a pregnant woman.
Yeah, he wanted some.
Yes. So it's like, I can't house you, I can't feed you unless you give me something. So the something was sex.
Okay.
And then I was like, traditionally, I can't do this. When I'm carrying another man's child, I can't have sex with another man because it's a curse. Yeah, so I told him I can't. So he's like, the following day he says, leave. I had nowhere to go.
Okay.
There was an unfinished building, so that's where we were with my children. Open door, but we started there. I had to go to people's homes to wash clothes for survival. And by the time I gave birth to my child, we had a door in that unfinished building.
Okay.
We had clothes to put on. We had food on the table. But by the time I went to give birth, I didn't even have 100 shillings. I only told God, that night I remember praying, I said, God, never make my labor come in the night because you know I have no one. Let my labor start at 6. And at 6 exactly, that's when labor started.
See the grace of God.
Yes, he does exist. I went to the hospital. I just climbed on the bed, pushed my baby. I told the nurse, I'm going back home.
No, I'm not staying in hospital.
I'm not staying in hospital because I couldn't leave the other boy home with no one.
Wow.
I picked my baby. I walked from the hospital back home, carrying my baby in my hands.
Sarah, I don't even know what to tell you. My God. Wow. That's all I can say. Like, that is really all I can say to you. Sarah's decision to escape the clutches of abuse was not an easy one. It took immense courage to recognize the toxicity of her marriage and choose to overcome the obstacles on her path. The emotional and physical scars she bore compelled her to seek a life that was free from fear, pain, and torment. We will pick it up from there after this break. Welcome back. Let's continue from where we left off with Sarah narrating to us how she managed to overcome mental and physical abuse. For those who have just joined us, you have missed the tea. But let's continue and you will catch up with us as we proceed. Well, Sarah, the rain has sent us away from where we have been, but let us just continue with this story. Yo, girl, you're powerful, you're strong. So we are in hospital.
Yes. So from the hospital after giving birth, because I went to the hospital at 6,
Yes.
I walked to the hospital. So the moment I enter the labor ward and I register and everything, of course I was already feeling the push.
Yes.
So after that, I met an OG, she's a doctor. So I just asked her, could you kindly check me through, although her shift was ending.
Yes.
So she checked me, she's like, but the baby's head is here. So I just climbed on the bed and pushed.
Okay.
And I told her, you know what, do everything you can, I must go home. And she was very understanding. After like 30 minutes, they handed me over my baby and I walked back home.
Okay.
I carried my child and I just walked back home.
Okay.
But trust me, I didn't have even 50 shillings to cater for that baby.
So how did you get some money? Did anyone support you? Did you do anything?
I worked hard. I would move to people's homes asking if there is anything that I can do. So whatever I did, they paid me, and that was for feeding. Yeah, to make sure the kids are fine. And thank God, each time I prayed, the children never fell sick, neither me.
You know, that is actually so real. Most of the times when people are going through stuff, especially when you're a mother, for some reason there's a way God protects the children from falling sick, from accidents, from all these things.
Yes.
Yeah, so how do we arrive to where we are today?
And so one day, I just sat on the bed. Of course, those days I lost sleep. I would never sleep. The whole night I would be thinking. So one night I just thought to myself, I think it's time to move. It's time to move, it's time to change environments, it's time to go to strangers and start afresh.
Yes.
So I sell some clothes that I had. I sell some few food items. I sell some few utensils that I had. I got transport. I picked my children. I came to Kampala.
Okay.
Now the issue was, where am I going to stay?
I was about to ask you that exactly.
I just said I will stay because the bus parks have places where people sleep. Those who are traveling, maybe if you're traveling in the night, you come early and you sleep.
There's waiting areas.
The waiting areas, and they have papyrus mats.
Okay.
So that was my bed. That was my hotel room. That was my house. So during that day, I buy the kids something to eat with the money I had. I would make sure I don't spend more than 1,000 shillings. So me, it wasn't a problem. I would survive.
These are 4 children, right?
Yes.
Continue.
And so with time, I started moving around. I would leave them with the older girl. I tell them I'm coming back. So I happened to meet a friend. She's called Anita. She's a Kenyan. I helped her one time when I was okay. So we bumped into each other in town. And she's like, you're looking, what's wrong?
Terrible.
I took her where I was staying with the children. She cried and she's like, you know what? A friend has a job at X-Hub, Nigeria. So can you go and work there? I said yes, immediately.
Here where we are today.
Here where we are today. She connected me. They wanted a cashier. And because I have a degree in accounting, I also have level 2 in CPA. So I presented my papers. Good enough, I moved with them. So they took me in as a cashier. But I would walk from town to X-Hub.
Sarah, this is just too much for me.
Yeah.
You have a degree, you've gone to school,
Yeah.
you even have level 2 in CPA,
Yes.
and you're sleeping on the papyrus,
Yeah.
and you've gone through all these things.
At that point, education didn't matter to me because there is no pain that I had not gone through. So I was used to pain. And every pain that came, I took it as a blessing. What mattered to me was to make sure I reach X-Hub to work.
Yes.
And that time they were paying me 15,000. That was heaven on earth. Every day they would pay me 15,000. I would work from Monday to Saturday. So the only days I was off was Sunday. So I would spend with the children. So I would make sure I use 5,000. I saved the 10,000. So I kept saving. Sometimes I would pick a taxi here. They drop me probably in one day gear. From there I walk because I needed to save the money to feed the children and also have some money to save. So
How do you climb up the ladders?
I worked for 3 months as a cashier. So I saved money enough to rent a room. So I had 150,000. So I got a small room and I moved in with my children. And that's where I started life from.
And that's where life began.
Yes, and that's where life began. I was so dedicated. I was so hardworking. Because at that point I was willing for any job. Now that I had a job, there's nothing I wouldn't do. If I see a cleaner cleaning, I go help. I wouldn't want to sit idle. I would do everything, load the fridges, carry the beers. The bosses saw how hardworking I was and they promoted me, and that's how I am here. But trust me, it's all about hard work.
Now, what position do you hold here?
I am a manager now. As we talk currently, I am the manager of X-Hub.
Sarah, the grace of God.
Amen. I have food. I can eat 3 times. I can buy a new cloth if I see it. My children are all in school. My first daughter is in S3 at Our Lady of Africa.
Yes.
And all the kids go to school. So that is, for me, that is life. That is an achievement. And I am so proud because not even any of their fathers has come one day to say, how much is school fees?
Did the fathers look for you when you
No.
decided to move away?
I blocked all of them. I blocked all of them because they are negative energy. So at this point, I don't want negative energy. I just want to be happy. That is all.
Sarah, you need to give yourself, of course it takes time, but there's this chance to try again. We all deserve to be loved at some point in time.
I don't know if love exists because there is not any love that I didn't give. So I think I have nothing else to offer. So what do I offer the next person that is coming? I would think it's also a scam.
What would you tell another woman that is probably facing the same situation at this time?
Not until you reach a point of acceptance. We keep crying, we keep being like fragile. It's because we haven't accepted the situation. But I reached a point I was like, this is it. And once I accepted the situation, I was like, okay, Sarah, the next step. So you need to show people who put you down. You need to always fight.
Girl, I am so proud of you. Like, I have shivers.
Thank you.
Your story. We always think that we have overcome stuff, that we always think we've gone through so much, and yet there are stories that will take their word. but you have overcome. Girl, I'm so proud to even know you. I'm proud to associate with you. I'm proud that you have chosen me to share the story with. Wow, is all I can add. Let's get an in-depth understanding from an opinion leader on how to overcome gender-based violence.
What I have to say is that everybody makes a mistake, and everybody can fall and rise up. But I think what people have to learn is that when you make a mistake, the next time you make a decision, you should do it better. And I think this is something that a number of women have to learn. Many women can get married the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth. But if you're going through the same thing, then you should ask yourself, what decisions can I be able to do better? But I think that for second chance women or third chance women, we need to look out for those people that can help us to be who we are. Even when they don't have the money we are looking for, but he can speak to you and say, Janet, Olivia, Sarah, I'll be in you in this journey. You are working and you need this support. I can look after the kids. I can support you as you do your accounting work. I can support you as you go to trade in China or Thailand or Dubai. There is nothing as important as an empowered woman. I always tell women, you can leave everything can go, but a woman that is empowered is far much better than anything in this world. Two things: be empowered and love your God. There is no better weapon than having a woman that is empowered, has a skill, and is able to speak and look after herself and her children.
If you are facing the same challenge of domestic violence or even another, I can strongly say to you that you too can overcome. Sarah's journey is an inspirational tale of triumph over adversity. Though her pain was laden with obstacles, she emerged victorious, determined to create a safe and nurturing environment for her children while prioritizing her own healing and happiness. Join us again next Saturday, and don't forget to follow me on my socials at Girl from Oyam and Triumph Women UG. Have a blessed night.
Brought to you by Stanbic Bank Uganda.